if you want to travel long term, you need to find a way to make money while you travel. I'm not the expert at that. So I brought in someone who is. Tonya Chen is going to tell you all about how to make money as an English teacher abroad so you can see the world and still eat.
That's very important.
That's important. That's important. But first, welcome. My name is Stephanie, and I'm a year-round house sitter. I traveled for a year on savings, which is why I don't know a whole lot about traveling and working at the same time. So if you're interested in taking a long break from work to travel, or if you're interested in house sitting, make sure that you subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when you post a new video. Thank you. All right, welcome, Tonya. I'm so excited for today.
Yes, I'm super excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Now, like I said, the most requested videos, the biggest question that I always get from people is, yeah, but how can I make money while I travel? You've hacked it, right? So you've hacked it. So you're teaching abroad.
So currently I'm not teaching abroad. However, I taught English for 3 years in South Korea.
Yes.
I also teach currently online as well. So there are different ways of using English to kind of teach and move and stay, all that stuff.
That's right. Now, originally, I'd like to go back a little bit. I was going to say I stalked your Instagram. I kind of did stalk your Instagram.
I stalk everyone's Instagram. No, we all stalk.
I scrolled through your Instagram and I saw a post where you said that you felt like you had to relocate, like you had to leave the US. Mm-hmm. Why? What was going on?
So to be honest, I've just always been inclined to learning about other cultures, learning about other languages. I studied Arabic and Spanish for my undergrad, and like I've just always wanted to be somewhere else. It's just this inward thing that I really can't explain. And the reason I felt like I had to, like I graduated, I was in a great job. I was actually translating at the time for a small company. But I literally, like, each day I felt like I was withering away. And like, even back then I was living with my mom and she was like, you have to leave. Like, you just look like you're dying. And it wasn't the job itself. The job actually was great. My boss was cool. I just knew I just had to get out. I don't know. I just had to go.
Yeah. I think most people watching can identify with that feeling, right? You just got to go. You got to go. So was teaching abroad your first step to move to leaving, to relocating, or did you try something else first?
No, that was the first thing. So actually I had seen a flyer back before I graduated. I was undergrad. I'd seen a flyer to teach English in Korea. And I was like, oh man, I wish I studied Korean. Like, I wish I knew all these things about this. But I kind of put it away as my plan B, and I went forward with the job I was supposed to get, this translation company. But I could never take that idea out of my head. And so I just kept coming back. So eventually I was like, okay, let me just keep looking into this teach abroad thing. And because Korea was the first country I was kind of introduced to as that being an option, even though there are tons of other countries you can teach English in, I went for Korea.
And how has that changed your life? How is your life different now?
Oh my God. Like, I literally, like, I'm a very different person than who I was before I went to Korea. Like, this interview would have never happened. Like, I was so shy. I was very closed-minded. I was very sheltered growing up. And really, it was just a time and space. No matter, like, really where you go, you get that time and space to figure out who you are, what you actually like, what you believe in, what you want. And that was what that was for me. And I know for most of us who do take that gap year or gap years or indefinitely away from our home country. So I just completely up-leveled, to be honest. Just really grew into the woman I am today. Yeah.
You said the magic words, time and space. We spend so much time working, first going to school and then working, and we're following like the path that's already laid out for us, that a lot of times we just don't take the time and give ourselves the free time to see what's possible. What else could happen? What are the possibilities for me? Yeah. So you discovered teaching abroad, but knowing about something and then actually doing it are two different things. Is there something that got you out the door that helped you just say, yes, this is for me?
It was kind of a slow trickle. And I think the fact that at that time my parents could see how deeply I needed this. I think more like, I think for a lot of us who do this, it's like, you gotta need this because it can be very lonely and long process getting there, like you said. So I just started kind of doing a little here, doing a little there, just kind of like I didn't even like fully commit, if I'm being very honest. Like I was like, I'll just see how this goes. I'll just see how this portion goes. I'll see how this portion goes. And then next thing you know, I'm like, okay, everyone, I've signed a contract. And yeah, it kind of slowly trickled.
Okay, yeah, well, one step at a time, right? Everything happens with one step at a time. Nobody takes 50 steps at once.
Right.
Even if we're not 100% sure, you don't have to be 100% sure to get like a big change.
Yeah, that's true. So the baby steps do definitely work. As long as you're moving forward, you'll get there.
Yeah. Progress.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about, so I know that there are a lot of initials that are thrown around in the world of teaching English abroad.
Yeah.
TESL, TEFL,
FL.
something with a C.
Yeah.
What are these things?
So the thing about them, they all do mean something different. However, a lot of people just use them interchangeably. I am also guilty of doing that just because, let's say you go on a job board where there's a bunch of jobs to teach English abroad. They'll still use the acronym ESL or TESOL or TEFL, like all of those, even though, so technically TEFL is teaching English as a foreign language. And that's the one I just try to stick to because that most accurately describes what we're working with when someone wants to teach English abroad. So it's teaching English as a foreign language. So that means you're going to a country where English is not the native language and you're teaching it as a foreign language. Okay. And then TESL, TESL, that's where you're teaching English as a second language. So like ESL, that's when you're in a country, like you're in America, you're in Canada, and you're teaching teaching English in an English-speaking country to those who do not speak English.
Okay.
It sounds weird.
Okay.
Hope that made sense.
Okay. But for people who are looking to go abroad, the most of the postings or whatever will say TESL required.
Yes, yeah. So they'll have you get a TEFL or Tesl. Yes, Tesl kind of incorporates both EFL and EFL.
Okay, I still said it wrong. Okay, TEFL required. Okay, all right. So what is your day like when you're teaching abroad? So we're going to talk about the application process in detail. I'd like to talk a little bit more about that. But let's talk about the life of an English teacher abroad. What's that like?
Oh gosh, so it's amazing. It's every day you learn so much. I mean, I guess that's in general whenever you relocate for any profession, but you wake up, you go to, like, so for example, my first year I lived in the countryside. I had a very like easygoing job out there for my first year. So I'd wake up, I wouldn't go to school till around 12 noon.
Oh, wow.
Start them with lunch, have lunch with the kids. And then we have classes for a few hours and then I was done. And that was through the talk program. That was my first year. So that was a nice, like very easy entryway. After school, I would hang out with other English teachers. We'd explore the town. We started doing like volunteer work because we had a lot of free time back then for that first year. Weekends, I would go to Seoul, bigger cities, travel around Korea. Yeah, really fun. When I moved to Seoul, I had a more intensive job, worked in an English village. So, 9 to 6 kind of schedule, wake up, have like tons of different classes. They were like situational classes where it's more about immersion, really fun, high energy camp like. And then my afternoons, that's when I got into a hobby. I started going to dance classes. Oh. So fun, and really enjoyed that part of my life as well.
What kind of dance?
So it was hip hop and like K-pop, like the urban scene of Korea. It was so, I loved it.
Wow. So are you a big K-pop fan now?
I'm not a huge K-pop fan, like as in like I don't have any like biases or like I don't subscribe to any really, but like I watch the videos and it's like, oh, it's always so colorful and fun, so I watch them.
On Twitter, the K-pop fans are rowdy. They're rowdy.
Wild, man. Y'all are wild if you're watching.
They are.
I'm a little more low key than I'm able to be a true fan, but I do appreciate
Okay.
it.
Now, can we talk a little bit about pay?
Yeah, of
What
course.
can, what can, I know that sometimes you get housing included, or can we talk about what are the benefits of teaching?
Oh yeah, so that's one of the main things. A lot of people are attracted to Korea and Asia specifically because out of all the countries that you can relocate to as an English teacher, Asia has the best packages, as in for those who may not have the most qualifications can still get a decent pay. You can save, you can pay off student loans, get housing. So you'll start out around 2 million won a month, which is about like a little under 2K US dollars.
Okay.
Your housing is included in that, so you're not paying rent. You don't have a car because public transportation is amazing. So you're not paying housing, you're not paying for your gas or upkeep of your car. What else do you get in there? The salary. I know from my second school, they provided lunches for free. Like,
All right.
yeah, sometimes even dinner and breakfast, depending on when the students were there. So it can be you can find some sweet deals.
Great. That's great.
Yes.
And what age, I didn't ask you this, what age have you taught? What ages, I guess, have you taught?
Oh, from preschoolers to adults.
Oh.
Yes, I did everything in Korea for sure.
Adults like?
So I had an adult class my final year where we would do business English and just conversational English.
Oh, wow. That's wonderful. Okay.
Yeah, so a lot of people are, especially when they've taught there for a while, you'll find that a lot of seasoned teachers won't want to teach the kindergartners, the preschoolers, and they'll move towards the adult classes. And you can go to private schools where you're only teaching adults. And so your schedule is a little different. You do like split shifts where you're teaching before and after work shifts.
Okay.
But those options are available to you if you're like, I don't know about kids, but I'm open to teaching.
Okay, yeah, that would be me. Okay, that's good to know. That's really good to know because I never thought about that. I do see, like, I've done work exchange. Not, I haven't. I've done work exchanges, but I've seen other work exchanges where, like, a restaurant will want someone to come in and help their staff learn English, and they'll give you a place to stay and give you your meals for a while. But I never thought about.
Restaurants do that.
Yeah. They're usually not paid. Well, I don't know if they're usually paid, but through Workaway, they're not paid.
Workaway, yes.
But I never thought about having, an official program where you could make a living doing that. That's wonderful.
Oh yeah. Especially for sure in Asia, you'll find a lot of adult English classes.
Okay, great. Now, I want to talk a little bit about Korea because I've never been to Korea and it's always been a place that I've wanted to go. I've done a lot of Southeast Asia. I just didn't get over to Korea. And you talk specifically on Instagram again. And I should say on Instagram, you're Hello Tonya Teacher. Go ahead and follow. Yes. I'll put links in the description.
Thank you.
But on Instagram, you talked about how lit Lunar New Year is when you're in a small town in Korea. I spent some time, so I was in Vietnam during Lunar New Year, like 2016. And I started out in Hanoi, up in the big city, and seeing everybody preparing for it was so beautiful. I mean, everything was decorated. It was like, there was so much buzz. And then I went to a small town during Lunar New Year, and I was kind of hoping that somebody would like have pity on me and invite me to their home. That was really why I went to the small town, because I was like, if they'll know that I'm a stranger. And so, right, I stand out, it's obvious. And someone is going to invite me to their house. Like I just knew. It didn't happen, but it was so nice to see it happening, to see all the build up for it. It was really pretty. And I always tell people, when you're looking to make a big change, time it to something that you really just want to experience. Right. So I'm going to plug my worksheets. I have some worksheets to help you start planning a gap year, and it's called the Gap Year Worksheet. And I'll put the link in the description. And one of the steps is to just time it with something, do parallel timing. And I think Lunar New Year in Asia would be an amazing way to get yourself out the door and say, I want to see this for myself. And so I have to go. I can't do it from my couch. Yeah. What's Lunar New Year like in Korea? Like in your small town that you started out in?
So generally during those times, it's actually very like family oriented. So people will either, like the big cities sometimes are actually dead. People will go to like the rural areas, and people will come and be with their grandparents and go to their grandparents' house, and they'll cook and they'll have all this food and just time to be with family. So it is good if you know someone then that is a native Korean. That way you can get in on the family gatherings, because it can get kind of dead in the bigger cities around that time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I experienced that too. Yeah. Yeah.
Or a lot of English teachers or foreigners will go travel at that time. So if you go, like for one time I went to oh, that wasn't during. When was? Oh, I left right before the Chinese New Year in Hong Kong, but I saw the preparations going down, and I was just like, oh my god, I wish I was staying.
I know,
But that
it's
would be
so
the
pretty.
time.
Yeah, it's so pretty. They go all out. The decorations are worth it alone. My pictures are
Yeah.
great.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so let's talk. So the application process seems like it could be very scary. You help people get through this process because a lot of people see what's required and they just either get stuck or just don't know how to proceed.
Right.
So can we talk a little bit about what's required to get started? Like, is there, so like how hard is it?
So it can be quite tedious. So the application process, you're doing things like you're gathering a ton of documents. This could be transcripts. You're getting your like fingerprints done for a criminal record check. You have to get these documents authenticated. So like your diploma, the criminal record check you actually get. You're creating an essay, lesson plan. So there's a lot of little components to go into it. And really, I help people just kind of get organized with it, because it is similar between countries, but there are also some differences. Just really helping people get organized, and then kind of taking a holistic approach to it. So before you even get into that, making sure that you're actually choosing the right country, making sure that you should actually go there and that you're not getting scammed and choosing jobs that are basically going to play you at the end of the day. And then also finding the jobs that are good ones and positioning yourself to grab those. So there's a lot that goes into the application, and I like to make sure that people, whoever works with me, they're on the right path and they're organized and they are actually moving forward to something that's going to be legitimate.
Now, these applications are different than what we're used to in the US, like looks matter, right?
Yeah.
So what's it like for Black people, Black women in particular, going through this process?
So you'll definitely, I'm not gonna lie, you can find racism for sure. Like, I mean, it's everywhere, right? So I always say that if it's a racist school, you don't want to be there anyway. They're gonna put on there, like there will be literally schools that will say, we want a white female only. And we don't want to apply for that school anyway. They can go do their own thing. But I don't necessarily think that it's a bad thing that looks matter, because I always try to put myself in the position of the schools. If I'm over here and I have a kid of my own and someone's bringing over a foreign teacher from, I've never met this person. All I know is, what's in front of me on their resume, like just showing someone that puts forth care in their photo, just like a professional photo or a clean cut photo. I'm going to probably choose that over someone who is taking a selfie, and like looks unprofessional and, dressed and who knows what. So when I say looks matter, I mean that just making sure you're putting forth the effort to be professional, to being clean cut. And then also, like, if you're doing an interview, making sure that you look confident and welcoming and warm, like you actually want to work with children and can work with children. So the looks do matter, because as a parent and as a teacher, or as a parent or as an employer who their main target market are the parents, they do have to appeal to them and the fact that they've never met you. That's a big risk they're taking when they bring you over.
That's right. So like when I tell people about house sitting and, you know, how to get your profile set up, I'm like, smile, you know, look friendly, take a picture with a dog or a cat, you know,
Yes.
you're going to be taking care of people's pets. Look like someone that they would want in their home while they're not away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But you haven't had trouble being a woman of color getting jobs.
So like outright, I've never had like someone say, oh, actually, no, there was one time. So there was one time when I applied for a position. It wasn't actually a teaching position. It was, oh gosh, I forget what it was. It was something in Korea. I was teaching and I was looking for other jobs. And they said, oh no, we're looking for someone who is a white female actually. And I was just like, okay, that's cool. But jobs will just basically ghost you if they don't want you, and you'll never know, was it because of my looks or was it for something else? So a lot of times what you'll see is like, if you go on the Facebook groups, people are like, I've put out 1 million applications. What is it? Is it because of my race? But you won't often know that it is, but we just assume it is sometimes.
Yeah. All right. So is there a hiring period for teachers abroad? Like there's a busy hiring period in the US for teachers, or is this like a year-round thing?
So it will depend on the country. So for certain countries in certain regions, it's a year-round process. And for others, it's there's more like peak seasons.
Okay. All right, so you have a workshop. Anybody who's watching this in December, because you're part of the notification gang, there's plenty of time for you to get in on the workshop so that you can get your questions answered. You don't have to feel like you're left out there. All right, so you say that your workshop is insanely productive.
It is, yes. We're doing a lot in a very short amount of time. And what this is going to help you do is really just get on the right foot for the year. So if you're looking to relocate abroad, 2020, it's your year. But the process is daunting, and I totally get it. I've been there, and usually when people come to me, they're like, Tonya, I don't know where to start. Or if they've already started, they're like, I don't know what to do next. So in this workshop, what we're going to be doing is helping you know where to start, what to do next, make sure that you're not getting scammed, that you're choosing a country that's going to be a fit for you. And we're really going to help you position your application to be a highly sought after candidate. So a lot of people come to me and they have this goal, dream job that they want to be working at. So I'm going to show you how to position yourself, what examples you need to put in, take out, make sure that you're at top of the top.
All right. And this is, so I'm going to, of course, link to this in the description, but this is a bit.ly link, bit.ly/Teach Abroad Weekend Workshop. And it's in January.
January 2020.
And anyone who is even remotely interested, get the information.
Yes.
You know that all I want is for everyone to take some time and travel the world. Quit your job. I tell her, just quit your job and travel. And teaching abroad is an amazing way to do it. Who fits in well with this kind of life?
If you're flexible and you are willing to challenge yourself and grow, then you will have an amazing time, because you will be challenged. There will be ups and downs from day one when you begin this application, but it is so worth it on every single way.
How many years total did you teach?
So in Korea, 3 years.
3 years.
Yes.
And did you get to travel outside? Well, I know you traveled extensively in Korea. Did you go other places?
Yeah, I actually got to go to Japan, Hong Kong, and Thailand.
What was this? I didn't ask this. So what was the school year like? Is it like the US where you have a 3-month summer, or is it more broken up throughout the year?
I wish. So if not, you definitely do not get anywhere near the 3 months.
Okay.
It depends if you do public or private schools. However, you'll get like a week, 2 weeks in the summer and winter, and that's kind of being generous.
Okay.
It really depends. Yes. So you can just use your time, and there are vacation days that you can use as well that are within your contract. So always check to make sure you have those in there.
And I know that you're in California right now. What Korean food are you missing the most?
Oh gosh, So there's something, this sounds so weird. It's an acorn jelly. Oh God, this sounds so bad when you say
It does sound bad. No lie, it does.
And I was watching it. Oh, I forgot the word in Korean. I literally was just looking at it yesterday, and I was like, "Holy crap!" So it's like these noodles, sounds so bad, in cold soup, and these little acorn jellies, and it's really good though. But I am missing that and craving that right now.
I hope you can find some where you are. I hope. I've been missing mango sticky rice since I left Thailand, and like every time I go to a Thai restaurant, I expect that they're going to have it, and they're like, "Oh no, not today." They always say "not today," as if they had it yesterday. I know they didn't have it yesterday either. But whenever I hear someone's going to Thailand, I'm like, "Please, just eat some mango sticky rice and think of me."
Eat it for me.
Yes, please.
Yes. No, I will be traveling into Korea though, so I'm gonna get all the acorn jelly I can get.
Yes. Freeze it.
Right. No, that's a good idea, actually.
All right. So, is there anything that we want to tell people about teaching English abroad that we haven't covered today?
That if you're open to it, even if you don't have, a lot of people are worried that they don't, because they don't have the experience with children or teaching. If you're open to it, just note that schools are open to taking people without experience. So that means that they're well aware that you may not have the experience, this may be new. Whether they'll give you an actual orientation or not, that depends on the school. So definitely check out some of the stuff I have, because I help people prepare themselves, get their classroom management, all that ready as well. But if you're open to the idea of learning, you're flexible, then just apply, do it, because it can be the most amazing experience of your life, hands down.
Fantastic. All right. So again, the bit.ly link is bit.ly/Teach Abroad Weekend Workshop. Yes. It's, of course, the link is in the description. Also, the link to Tonya's Instagram is in the description. Follow her. Because you had a beautiful wedding, which we didn't even talk about. I think it was your wedding pictures.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. Beautiful. Like it was a traditional Korean wedding, or?
No. My wedding, we were at the Dominican Republic.
Oh, I saw pictures. Okay, so I'm not the best stalker. So I saw pictures of you in Korean.
We were in Jeonju. So we did meet in Korea. So that's another thing, guys. You can find, love abroad. And we were just in Jeonju, and we both, we did wear matching hanbok. Okay. So that's probably what you saw. So yeah, we were just frolicking around in Jeonju, just having fun abroad.
Beautiful. All right, so when you take a leap, when you take a step, you don't know where you're going to end up, right? Everything is your life is totally different now than it was.
Yes. You never know what blessings are calling you. Go ahead.
Exactly. Yeah, I was going to say, same for me. My life is totally different. I thought that I was I thought I was taking a gap year. Turns out I'm still out. I'm still 4 years later.
4 years.
4 years later, I'm still going. You don't know what's going to happen, but you don't have the possibilities, right? The possibilities just don't present themselves until you give them space. You have to give yourself time and space. Normalize free time. I say it all the time. Normalize free time. Normalize going out and trying something new, taking a leap, even if you're not sure where it's going to land you.
Yes. I love that.
I love it too. All right, Tonya, thank you so much for talking with us today. I've said it 1,000 times. Links are in the description, and don't hesitate. Tonya is here to help you. Okay, you don't have to feel like you're out here on your own and you have to figure everything out. She's here to help. And
yes, I am.
And she's super friendly. We're friends.
Yes, we are.
All right.